Hey guys, finally uploading again after I think it's been 11 days. So that's great. Welcome back to the movie reviews. Today we are reviewing Late Night with the Devil, released in 2023. So I do know that this movie blew up when it came out. It was really popular. It has really good ratings. Um but I had never seen it until yesterday when I watched it, or last night. And wow, I was missing out. I thought this movie was great. I definitely agree with the 97% this movie has on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if I'd give that. I'd probably give it it's like a tiny bit higher. Like I'd give it like a 95. But yeah, this movie is still amazing. So this movie's POV is almost entirely as a talk show that's being played back on a tape. Um which is a cool idea. I had seen I had seen the found footage thing a million times, but I've never seen a talk show horror movie. It's a new idea to me. I don't know if there's any other talk show horror movies out there, but yeah. And it takes place in the 70s, so of course the bad guy has to be a demon. A 70s based movie is the bad guy is always either a serial killer or a demon, because that's that's basically what the 70s was all about. It's the late 70s, and a talk show host named Jack Delroy is returning to his game show after being gone for a while, like a month. And he disappeared and fled New York. I think that's where this movie takes place, to in New York in the 70s. Um because his wife died. His wife died of lung cancer. Um and he is now back on his show for a Halloween special. He's gonna have a ton of guests, and they're gonna play like a ghost act. I think that's what they were planning. So he has a guest. It's this dude named Christo or whatever. Um and he claims to be able to hear ghosts or something. Um there's a scene where there's scenes where he's like, "Oh, I think I'm getting something. A name, Edward." It's stuff like that. And they have another guest on the show, named Carmichael Hag or whatever, who is a magician and also a professional asshole. Um, he's pretty unlikable throughout the movie, and not just because he's denying the existence of ghosts it's just because he's also just mean. But yeah, he is here to deny Christu's claims. Um, and then Christu he starts freaking out. Um, he starts saying Jack's dead wife's name, and then he pukes up black substance all over Carmichael. Um, but even then, Carmichael is still denying it. Um, I don't know. I was like, if if I was Carmichael, and I got pu- and a black substance got puked on me, it's not even throw up. It's just like this. It's just like this black goo. Um, I would think that this might be real, and that's not supposed to be a part of the act. So everyone on crew is a little weirded out. Not a little weirded out, really weirded out. They're all kind of freaking out. Well, Jack is, because Jack knows that that's not supposed to be a part of the act, but everyone else, most other people on the crew thinks it is, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, that was a really great act." how did you do that? Like, did he have like a pipe in his mouth or something? Did he have like some kind of thing in his mouth that would like shoot that out? So yeah, all of that happens, and they cut to commercial, and then when it shows the scene, after between it's like while they're off air and commercials are airing, you learned that um Christu, he basically puked his guts out in the ambulance and died. Um, so yeah, this, and again, it's another thing that shows that this definitely has to be real, because this guy freaking died. Actually, I don't know if Carmichael ever knew about that or not. Maybe he didn't. And then they have a kid named Lily come on the set, and she is with her doctor slash guardian. She's her doctor, like, and her guardian. And this kid, she was being kept in a house ran by an evil satanic cult that would sacrifice kids. Which of course is pretty bad. If you're just in a cult in general, it's bad. I mean, I don't know if there's good cults out there. There probably is, but yeah. And then there was like a shootout between them and the police, I think. And then they all killed themselves by covering that house in gasoline and then setting it ablaze. But one kid in there was found alive, and that kid was Lily. And then when they brought her to the hospital, she started acting weird, and then it became obvious that she was possessed. So yeah, they have a possessed kid on set. And she says that the demon is still in her, but she's better at controlling it, I guess. And she says that she calls it Mr. Wriggles. So that's like the demon's name. Um and to prove that this is all real, they have like a demonstration thing or whatever. The doctor was not really on board with it, but they did still do it. And stuff happens. She starts like shaking violently, and her skin gets all weird and cut and messed up, and her voice changes. Um, it it might be it's probably my favorite scene in the movie. Um, and they stop it because it starts getting really bad. She starts levitating. Um, but Carmichael is still denying it. Even though he literally saw this with his own eyes, he's still denying it. And the explanation Carmichael has for still not believing this, he says that the doctor had all of them and the viewers hypnotized. I forgot to say that when Mr. Wriggles took over in this scene, um, she started talking about like how how this thing and Jack go way back. Oh, that rhymed. And they've met before, and they go way back. They met in like the tall trees, which she's talking about like some group or cult or whatever, um, that was in a forest. Um, and they all wear like owl masks, and Jack was suspected to be part of it. Um, which honestly kind of makes sense. I mean his talk show is called Night Owls, so it kind of makes sense. But anyways, back to the Carmichael saying that the doctor had everyone hypnotized. And to and for so Carmichael proves this by taking one of like the other crew members, um who always like introduces Jack. His name's Gus. Um, he has them do what the kid and the doctor did today. They sit in front of each other on chairs, and then Carmichael pulls out like that clock thing that you like the. It's like what you see in all the movies, like you dangle it in front of someone to hypnotize them. And he has like this spiral thing coming on the clock, or and he's now hypnotized all of us. And then he like snaps his fingers and says, "You have a phobia of worms." And Gus is like, "How did you know?" And then Gus has like a cut on his neck, and then worms start coming out of it, and then he pulls his stomach open, and then worms start coming out of his stomach. It's a kind of a gross scene. Um, and then like a big worm just like it just like comes out of his skull, and then everything's fine all of a sudden. That's not happening anymore. Everybody saw the worm thing. Um, but now Gus is just fine. What? So so I had to kind of pop my neck there. Um, and then so Carmichael has them watch the footage back, and then they watch the footage back, and it's completely different from how everyone saw it. Carmichael's saying like, "Oh, you have worms coming out from that cut on your neck. You now have worms in your stomach. You must and now you got to get them out. Um, you are now gonna turn into a worm, I guess." Um, which nobody saw that, nobody remembers seeing that. So yeah, Carmichael hypnotized all of us. And then right when you start thinking, "Oh god, maybe Carmichael has us here. Maybe this doctor is a fraud." They replay the footage from with the doctor and the kid, Lily. And they watch it, and nothing's different. The same things, it's just the same thing as everyone saw. So the doctor did not hypnotize anyone. And even Carmichael still says like, "Oh, there has to be a rational explanation for this." Like, no, you've been proven wrong, Carmichael. Everything that happened with Lily is real. Um, and then they notice something that goes on for like a nanosecond. Um, and then they freeze frame on it, and it's an apparition of Jack's wife. Who's dead. She died of lung cancer. And then Lily starts like freaking out, like bolts of lightning come out of her hands, and then like her head splits open, and it's like there's like a huge light coming out from her head when it's split open, and she kills Gus by making his neck just snap, and she kills Carmichael by like melting his skin. Um, so that was a pretty cool kill, and she even kills the doctor. Like she has like the doctor's like cross necklace thing. She has that like pick her up and hang her, and it eventually slashes her throat, and she dies. I wouldn't expect that this kid would kill her doctor. I thought like even Mr. Wriggles was cool with the doctor, but she doesn't kill Jack though. Jack, he like runs backstage. Um, and then he starts like appearing in a bunch of past moments in his show. But all of them have stuff that happened just now, like the worms and his wife, and and the whole hypnotization thing. And then he's trying to tell all of us, literally us, like, turn off your televisions, don't watch, turn it off. Um, and then he sees all of the cult guys wearing like animal masks, and there's like a big one with an owl mask. And the leader of the satanic cult that Lily was trapped with, um, shows up, and he makes him like drink a cup of something. You don't know what it is. And then he sees his wife in bed. Um, she's in very poor health. She's doing that death rattle thing. Um, and she's like, and there's like a dagger that you kind of see throughout the movie. Mostly in the flashback cult scenes with Lily, like the leader of the cult, he has this dagger, and he does like an oath thing where he like cuts everyone's, what was that? Where he like cuts everyone's hand. Um, but yeah, she tells Jack basically take that dagger and do it, which means stab her. So he does it, and then you see that Jack is actually stabbing Lily, and now everyone's dead because now everyone's dead except for Jack, and then the movie ends. So I was a little turned off by that ending a little bit. So yeah, honestly, really cool concept in my opinion. This movie has a lot of great scenes. And the characters are pretty good, despite being kind of unlikable. I wouldn't say I had like low expectations for this movie, but they weren't like the highest. They were kind of high because like this is like a lot of people say that this is one of the best movies of 2023 or 2024 or whatever year it came out. It was either one of those. Um, so I had kind of high expectations, but I know I didn't really know anything about it, so I wasn't trying to be too harsh on my expectations, but this movie destroyed them. Like it absolutely exceeded them. Some complaints I have with the movie was one, the ending, which I found kind of sudden. It's like, oh, the movie just ends right there. There's like there's like no final scene where Jack sees the cult leader or something, who I think is supposed to be like the real bad guy. Or maybe it's Mr. Wriggles, or I don't know. And two, some of the characters being kind of unlikable. Like I didn't like Carmichael. I wasn't that big of a fan of the Doctor either. Um, but uh, but and three, I honestly do think this movie could have been a little scarier, and I think this movie could have had better effects. But like I could do effects any better. And this movie was still pretty creepy, so I just think it could have been a little creepier. Like I'm not saying this movie wasn't scary, it was. But I think they could have done better in that department. But other than that, this movie's a 9 out of 10 for me. This is a great movie. I definitely recommend it, especially if you like the whole like 70s aesthetic, and if you like game shows, or not game shows, talk shows. I think I'm sorry if I might have been saying game show this entire movie. It's not a game show; it's a talk show. Um, but uh, but yeah, that was my God, nearly 20-minute review for Late Night with the Devil, and I'm gonna go now. Bye.